Oh, how's it going, everybody? Just packing up a bowl of my favorite Master Kush here. Wasn't sure if I started yet. So, how are you all doing out there? It's a beautiful day today. It's actually a little bit warmer than it was yesterday. It's getting freezing here. Of course, I know a bunch of you are out there going, come on, now you live in California. How cold can it really get? We get pretty cold at night. Of course, I'm not as crazy as some of you guys wearing shorts and a tank top in 40-degree temperatures. But moving on to our stories for today, found a great story about employment changes for the for during the legalization of marijuana. I can't even say the title of my own story. Let's take a hit, see if that can't help change some stuff here. So far as it stands, if you are caught on the job smoking marijuana or caught basically with it in your system on the job, you can lose your job. You can get terminated from your job for having marijuana in your system, or even as far as not being able to even just get a job, period. But of course, losing your job is the same with alcohol. If you show up to work drunk, you're probably going to lose your job. Honestly, on the job use should always be prohibited for anything, period. But there is actually a group out there who's actually taken surveys from over 600 different human resources professionals and talked to all of them throughout different companies, whether it be government companies or nonprofit businesses, all these different types of businesses, put them together, surveyed each one of them regarding marijuana policies in their jobs. It's the Society for Human Resource Management, or the SHRM, and they basically, the HR professionals are informed of change and are told they will need to adapt. So this company has gotten together, has put together this survey, and is showing it to these human resource professionals in different companies and showing them times are changing. We are going to have to adapt to this change because if over 68% of Americans are smoking marijuana, that leaves only 42% of them able to work. It's a lot of people just sitting around smoking weed and not enough people working. Now, 94% of human resources surveyed claim to have a solid drug policy in place since before the legalization. So they're claiming that before marijuana legalization ever happened, they had a solid drug policy, however it's been written, in place. But come to find out, 16 to 29% of companies have actually reported to change their policies to a no tolerance policy after legalization. So some of these human resource people are lying. They're saying, nope, it's always been like this. No tolerance. We don't tolerate marijuana in our workforce, period. No questions asked. Well, it comes to find out that the companies are reporting that they actually did change because of the legalization to a no tolerance. Marijuana in your system equals no job. Well, gee, that's going to be kind of hard for me to work, huh? I always have weed in my system. Yeah, man. I bleed green, dude. But seriously, they're saying that 40% of companies require drug testing after an accident. So out of all the companies out there that have been on this survey, only 40% of them require that after an accident. The rest of them, the other 60%, are continually drug testing throughout the course of employment. So I need to find this 40% and just go into those jobs and be a good boy. Now, the SHRM basis for their survey, basically what they were highlighting in their survey and what they were showing with this survey, they have 5 main highlights. Finish packing this bowl real quick. I'll go over the 5 highlights. I honestly think that this article is a pretty cool article because as a lot of us are facing the legalization, it's true. Some of us can't get jobs because of it, because we choose to medicate, and we want to be medicated by smoking marijuana. We don't want to be medicated on pills. We don't want to be medicated in other ways. We don't want to socialize with alcohol. We want to socialize by smoking some herb. We want to medicate by smoking some herb. That's the way we want to do it. So the 5 highlights that they were highlighting in their surveys. Number 1, the companies base their policies on federal law. As of right now, federal law says do not allow anybody who smokes marijuana to work. So as long as federal law says that, that's what companies are going to continue saying. Companies will need to reconsider the policy after legalization. We are facing a time when we're legalizing so much and so many things are happening with marijuana legalizing and different states getting on board, and you really can't hold people who smoke marijuana accountable. I mean, even though the federal government's saying it, you're going to have to start looking it over and finding alternative routes to finding out whether or not they're using on job premises or just occasional after work smokers. Number 3, California's size will influence the nation after legalization. I know everybody says that everything's bigger in Texas, and yes, Texas does have a large size, but when it comes to influential reign, California did it first. Medical marijuana, California did it first. Now we have Colorado that did recreational first, and that's because, California has been so busy with so many different jumbling of initiatives that we can't get on board of anything. But when it comes to actually doing it recreationally, even though Colorado and Washington and all them did it first, it's going to be California that's going to lead the way. California is one of the largest states, and what they do is what ends up happening throughout the nation. So once we legalize next year, and then a whole year of us showing the nation what's going on and what's happening and how great it is to legalize, the rest of the nation will just start following suit. Once Texas gets on board, that's it. We just shot marijuana prohibition right in the heart. Number 4, younger generations support cannabis. I'm one of the younger generations, born in the 80s, raised in the 90s. I came up around marijuana with being told it was bad, but yet everybody smoked it, including my family members. As they're telling me it's bad, they're sitting there going, this stuff is terrible for you. Damn, do I feel good. So I'm supposed to believe you? Number 5, legalization may influence drug testing. Very true. When most of the companies out there are doing drug testing for marijuana, what are they going to really test for afterwards? Other drugs can be out of your system within a matter of 2 to 3 days, even sooner, depending on if you actually do something about it. So really, you can't catch these other drugs unless the person's really stupid enough to just show up to the actual drug test under the influence of said drug. The problem with marijuana, it's in your system for at least a month after smoking it. Well, smoking it heavily. If you take 1 or 2 hits here and there, give it about a good week or two and it'll probably be out of your system. Basically, we're going to be forced to choose, or we are being forced to choose between medicine and work, and it's unfair. I mean, should I be forced to say, hey, you should take pills because pills are better for you than smoking marijuana? No, it's not. Just because FDA approved the pill makes it better for me. No, I don't think so. They approved OxyContin, which has proven to kill more people annually. So yearly, OxyContin kills more people than the drug cartel ever has throughout history. Think about that. The drug cartel from Mexico, carrying all kinds of drugs and weird politics and killings and murders and all that stuff, have killed less people than the FDA approved drug OxyContin, which is now approved for 11 to 16-year-olds. Marijuana has 0 deaths. 0 deaths. When you overdose on marijuana, you get a good night's sleep and maybe a full tummy because you got munches. But people, despite all the regulations and drug testing, people are starting to actually admit to getting high at work. The Huffington Post is starting a new trend for hashtagging. So if you're online on social media, start your hashtagging. It's hashtag not all stoners. It's all one word, not all stoners. So if you're sitting out there somewhere doing something, take a video of whatever's going on and smoke. I'm high. Look what we're doing. But we're high too. Not all stoners are like this. So basically, show your everyday life. Start off the new hashtag. Let people see that not all stoners are lazy, no good, nothing for nothings. We do our part for society. If it's not for stoners doing what we do, there would be no economy. I mean, you have to also think to yourself, there was a time alcohol was taboo. In the workplace, alcohol? Nowadays, you take a bottle of wine to your boss for Christmas. Back in the days, you took a bottle of wine into work, they're going to fire you. That's terrible. That's illegal substances you're taking into work. Once we kill the taboo and all the categories that we put marijuana under, once we kill all the taboo behind it, all you're left with is just a medication, an herbal medication that we choose to use. For some of us, it's a way that we like to focus or even be good normally. I mean, actually, a lot of people have terrible jobs. They suck. Some jobs suck. The manager at the job will tell you himself, this job sucks, but it pays my bills. Guarantee you that manager is smoking marijuana. For others, it's just a way to unwind at the end of a very long day. Now, there's an app out there called the Whisper app. I don't have it personally, but it was mentioned during this article. And they asked, have you ever been baked at work? So I'm asking you guys here, They had several stories, which of course will be in the links in my description. You can go check out the article yourself and read the different little stories that people posted. I myself have had several instances where I'm baked as can be at work. I had one manager, I used to smoke cigarettes, and I had a manager that would come and take my cigarettes. He wouldn't ask for anything. I had them left up on top of my machine. I was working a welding machine. I just had to sit there and do this all day long to a welder. I think my cigarette's on top of the machine, and manager would come by and he'd keep taking keep taking a cigarette and light it up, and they wouldn't even say please, wouldn't ask, wouldn't say nothing, just grab a cigarette, light it up, and walk away. So one night, I went into the bathroom, dumped out some of the tobacco, grinded up a little bit of herb, put the herb into the cigarette, put the tobacco back into the cigarette, made it look like a nice cigarette again, and it looked perfect. Put it as the only last cigarette I had, and when he came up and said, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, no problem. Go ahead. It's the only. I got another whole pack right here." I'm telling you, he came back about 30 minutes later after smoking that cigarette, and asked me, "You got any gum?" Had every employee coming to me going, "Did you really do that to the boss?" Teach him. He didn't take any of my cigarettes after that. He asked first. But anyways, do you guys have any stories like that? Put some stories in the comments below. Let's hear what you've done at work. What have you guys done at work? So anyways, I'm going to get out of here, going over time here. Like I always tell you, hashtag educate before you medicate. Oh, you all have a peaceful, positive, and productive day. Coming at you guys.